Everyone deserves to see. Eastside is a wonderful company that are trying to give sight to the blind. And I don't care if you even think what it's like to be blind. Here you go. If you close your eyes right now, I got security, ain't nobody coming. Just close your eyes for a moment. I want you to take one of your hands and put it over your eyes while they're closed. Okay? Take the other one and put it on top of that hand while they're closed. Do you see total darkness? That's what it's like not to see. And you can take them down. And even us that have sight, that's still not as dark because we still can see in the darkness. But imagine living blind. I remember I was sick some time ago, and after I had surgery, I was blind just on the right side. And I had to be led around to the bathroom because I could not see out of my peripheral. I could not see on the right side. I couldn't judge corners and couldn't judge walkways, but I could not imagine how it felt to be completely blind. We're on this series, Seeing is Believing, and I don't know if you're having a good time, but I'm having a good time. And it's based off the book of John because we wanted to talk about John because John understood and he made sure that he relayed to us that Jesus wasn't just asking you to blindly believe, that there were works and miracles so that you would believe. And the most important thing is he talked about signs. He said, these are written that you may believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that believing you may have life in his name. So let's understand the signs are a reference point for us. Anybody got any references? What does that mean? In the Old Testament, every time God did something, they made a memorial. Because we'll forget. But if you have a memorial, every time you come to that memorial, it brings back the memory of what God did here. How many memorials do you have in your life? We need to start adding memorials and reminders to remind us to have a reference point. They are not merely evidence of his power, but of his person and of his promise. Belief, it goes beyond intellectual agreement or acceptance that something is true, but it moves to complete trust and reliance in that truth. A lot of people say they believe until you challenge on that belief. You're not sure what you believe until the challenge comes. I believe I was a certain size until I went to the store and tried on that size pants, and then I didn't believe anymore. But why must we believe? So that we may have life. Life is more than the physical, temporary state, but to experience the love of God through an unbroken, unobstructed relationship with him through Jesus Christ. That's what I was saying this morning. It's beyond just church. It's beyond just religion. He wants relationship with us, but you'll never have relationship if you don't believe. So we're going deeper into the Gospel of John, and we're going to be talking about healing of the man born blind. I think it's important that we say born blind because there's been times, even like in that video, if you have some sight, then man can mechanically try to make some stuff to cause you to see. But when you're born blind, that means the nerves and nothing is working for that to even happen or to expound on the little sight that you do have. He was blind. Born blind. Let's pick it up in chapter 9, and I want to just do an overview because this is super long, and I'm actually going to come back to this in the next series, so I'm going to skip over some stuff, but we'll get it all by the time it's over, all right? So listen, understand this. Jesus is walking with his disciples, and they saw a man blind from birth. Now, the disciples, they wanted to know, how did he get this way? We always want to know. You know we nosy. We want the business. And they go through this whole exchange about, well, who sinned? Well, who didn't sin? You know, I used to live a life where if you were sick, you were in sin. Or you didn't have enough faith. That is not the case. Jesus said it was neither the mother or the father or him. It is for the glory of God. But Jesus wasn't so concerned about how he got that way. His answer basically was, what can we do for him? See, when we're stuck in religion and we're stuck being religious like the Pharisees, we always want to know why you the way that you are. But when you are living in the manifested love of Jesus under grace, I don't care why or how you got that way. I want to know, what can I do for you? I don't have a lot of room to judge and don't have a lot of time either. The fact that you made it here is good enough. I just want to know, how can I help you? Far too many churches trying to figure out how you got that way and not enough saying, how can I help you? Another point that we have to pick out here, they're having this dialogue, but the man never asked for his sight. He was a beggar. He never asked for alms, and he never asked for healing. Jesus spits on the ground in some dirt. Y'all gotta read your Bibles better than any reality TV. He spits on the dirt and forms mud pies and places them on the man's eyes. And then he tells the man, go wash in the pool of Siloam, which meant sent. The sent one sent you to go wash. Now what's crazy about this, Brian, is it wasn't even the fact that he knew he was going to receive his sight per se. He knew he had to get that nasty mud off his eyes. He had to go wash. He wasn't going to be able to walk around with mud on his eyes. Whether he believed in who Jesus was or not, the fact was this man just spit and put some dirt in my eyes. I must go and wash this off. Yeah, we was going to make this super spiritual. Like he was like, Lord, I believe. He was like, no, I got to get this off my eyes. Well, he goes, and as he washed his eyes, he receives his sight. Could you imagine? You've been in darkness all this time, and all of a sudden, you can see. So he was just so astonished because Jesus had disappeared. He never saw Jesus. He heard him, but he never saw him. And so he goes into the town, and the people go, is that so-and-so? No, that couldn't be him, because he was blind. He was like, it's me. No, it couldn't be him. No, I know he was blind. I remember he was blind. He said, no, it's me. It must be his cousin. No, it's me, the beggar. I have received my son. So they went to tell the Pharisees and the leaders in the church. You're not going to believe what happened. We can't wait to tell the teeth. Pastor, you ain't going to believe this, but the beggar was blind, and now he sees. Now he can see. They said, bring him to me. The first issue was because he healed him on the Sabbath. Because you know there was no work to be done on the Sabbath, and you broke the law if you did any work. They were more or less about the miracle that this guy could see than the legality of how he could see. That sounds like our world, don't it? The fact is, he could see, but that wasn't important. So he gets there, and they get to questioning him over and over again. And he tells the story over and over again. They call his parents to the temple to testify that he was blind at birth. And they asked the parents what happened. They said, I don't know, you got to ask him. And so finally they pressured him again. Who is he? Who is this man that gave you your sight? And the man simply said, listen, whether he is a sinner, I don't know. But the one thing I do know is that though I was blind, now I see. Y'all can make up all the stories you want to. You can call him whoever you want to call him. All I know is that I was blind. And now I can see. Brian, they put him out the temple. They ostracized him, defellowship, told him he couldn't come back no more because he was blind. And now he can see. But sign belief is not a bad starting point, but it should never end here. It's not just enough that he didn't know who healed him and that he was healed. Later on in the chapter, he comes in 9 and 35. He says this, Jesus heard that they had put him out. I told you they put him out. You may be put out of some places once you see the new you. Hallelujah. Jesus heard that they had put him out, and finding him, he said, do you believe in the Son of Man? He answered, who is he, Lord, that I may believe in him? He said, wait a minute, I can see, so I don't care who you tell me you are, I believe. Jesus said unto him, you have both seen him, and he is the one who is talking with you, and the man said, Lord, I believe. And he fell down and he worshiped him. Why? Because all I know is I was blind. And now I see. You don't have to do anything else in my life for me to believe that you were the Messiah. Checkmate right here. I believe. And I don't care about all these people questioning me. How do you know God is real? How do you know what you serve is right? How do you know it's the right God? How do you know? I don't even know. All I know is I was. Listen, belief is progressional. You can't just believe once. I said last week, it's not static that you believe once and you stay there. Belief continues to grow because what it took then is going to take more now for you to manifest the promises that God has for you. I can look at your life and tell whether you believe or not. Uh-oh, I'm going over here. The man's progression of belief, first of all, he knew Jesus was a man. But then that wasn't enough. He figured, okay, he's a prophet. Then that wasn't enough. Then he said, he's my master and I'm his disciple. But that just didn't feel right. Then I acknowledged, okay, he did come from God because nobody had ever healed a man from sight being born blind. You couldn't blame it on another prophet or another priest or another. Nobody had healed nobody. So he was like, okay, I can give him that. He's from God. But wait a minute. I think he's the Son of God. Oh, I think I can trust him. Oh, I've decided I'm going to worship. Through the whole chapter, his belief just began to increase because natural man couldn't couldn't explain to him how he received his sight. How do I know he is who he is? Because there's no man that can explain what he's done in my life. Nobody can figure this out, how I am, where I am. It wasn't because I chose to be. He just decided. Given sight to the man born blind is an illustration of the greater salvation of God, in which he gives sight to those who are spiritually blind, resulting in eternal salvation. Here's the point of the message. Our belief should be progressive, but first of all, we have to understand we all blind. We were all blind, spiritually blind from birth. When Adam sinned, we were born in sin and shaped in iniquity. You were born not being able to see. Jesus takes the initiative in healing us from our blindness. Just like the man didn't request it, you didn't either. He just decided to cause you to see. Now, when and where it happened may have been different occasions. For me, it happened in the bar. What? I'm not tripping on you. Listen. When he decided to cause the darkness to flee, I immediately saw who he was. There are people that cannot receive him because they can't see who he is. They're living in a world of darkness, bumping into things, making a mess of their lives because they won't see who he is. Jesus does a work of creation in us, not reformation. He's not trying to reform you. There's no good in you at all. He is trying to make you new. He wants us to be born again. He doesn't want to do a renovation or a makeover. See, the problem is we come to church and we just want Jesus to do a renovation. We know, just fix this little part. This part is okay, God. You can just fix this over here and then I'll be straight. He said, I'm not interested in your ideas or your plans. I want to do a new thing. I want to have you born again. Nicodemus says, how can we be born and again? First of all, you got to receive your sight for you to understand and to see what it means to be born again. We must be obedient to what he commands. Could you imagine if the man would have never went and washed the mud off his eyes? But some of us find ourselves in a situation, God is trying to give you your sight, but you're refusing, and you're walking around with mud on your eyes. The truth of the matter is you can see if you clear away the mud. If you clear away the obstructions. But if you won't be obedient, the one thing I love about all these signs is there's always something that the person had to do. There's always something that they had to go do with the water and the wine. They had to go wash the pots. You have to have your part. You have to take part in your own healing, in your own sign. Now, he decided to heal him, but the healing was still on him because he had to go and wash. We must be obedient to what he commands. Do you know obedience is where a lot of us get tripped up? We all running for our life and everything is great until he tells you something you don't want to do. And you'll find every excuse in the world not to do it. You'll even find another scripture. But you know deep down inside what the Lord is telling you, and you'll keep being blind with the ability to see. We become a mystery to our former associates. When God really transforms our lives, people don't recognize you. I get it all the time. I don't look nothing like I used to. I don't act anything like I used to. And people be like, you sure that's you? I remember, this ain't even funny. Why I keep putting myself out here like this? I remember when my husband saw me again after a few years. And he was like, your name's Sharice? I said, yep. Sharice. Yeah, that's me. He said, oh, I know there's a God because he saved you. Y'all wasn't supposed to laugh that hard. When God really begins to make you new, you don't look like you used to look. You don't act like you used to act. There is a newness that comes. I used to hate hugging people. I hug everybody I see every chance I get because of the work that God has done in me. I let people say stuff to me now that I would have never, ever, ever let say to me before. But I understand they're operating out of their brokenness. Pray for them. I am new. They won't even recognize you. Don't be mad because your friends are leaving you. Those wasn't your friends in the first place. If you decide to go the way that Jesus is calling you and people flip out, let them flip out. Let them go. Because the bottom line is they are not going where you're going. And I'd rather be lonely and obedient than with a whole bunch of people and disobedient. That was a sidebar. We boldly and plainly testify of his work in our lives. Do you understand? I cannot not testify. We can be talking about anything. And you'll say something, like, I remember when God, it's automatic. It just comes out of me. I want people to know that there's a Savior. And if he can change me, he definitely can change you. I want people to know that there's nothing you can do or not do that's going to cause him to love you any less. I want people to know you don't have to go through what you're going through. I want people to know there's nothing you can do or not do. That he decided to love you in spite of you. I want people to know that he loved me when I didn't love myself. I want you to know that he kept me when I didn't want to be kept, when I was rebellious and disobedient and kept going the wrong way. If I made my bed in hell, he found me there. I want you to know. And if the Lord has changed your life, you should want other people to know too. Why are we so silent when it comes to the things God has done in our lives? People around you don't even know you Christian. It's a bad response when people find out you go to church and they say, you go to church? Where my young people at? I'm not saying you got to walk around with a Bible and hit people in the head with it, but they should know you go to church. Don't feel bad. I'm the pastor of this church, and my kids' friends at one point didn't even know they go to church. They didn't know their mother was a pastor. When God has done something in your life, we have to tell somebody. More than somebody, we would have to tell somebody's. But by the grace of God, I don't have it all right. I didn't have it all right. What the right part was that I was just obedient. And once I walked in obedience, I told everybody that I knew about the goodness of Jesus. When bad news comes, when reports comes, and negative doctor's report, I would tell you quick, I still believe the report of the Lord. Why are you so confident, Pastor? Because I've seen him do it before. I have a reference. Bodies are still being healed. Who are you telling about the goodness of the Lord? Or is everything that you say negative? Is everything you say is downtrodden? I don't like talking to them kind of people. You ever have people that something is always wrong? Those are the ones you get. God bless you, God bless you. I can find things wrong, but I just don't want to. Tell me something good. Tell me a praise report. Tell somebody what God has done for you. Let me move on. We pass from little belief to greater belief, which brings us to greater worship and adoration. You can't worship him greater because you don't believe him for more. The sign belief is cool. That's a great start. And if you there, God bless you. That's a good place to go. We need that sign. But you can't stay there. The belief it took for me to receive Jesus was a different belief than it took for me to answer my call. The small belief it took for the smaller things, for the headache, was a different belief when they said brain surgery. Might not make it. Can your belief support the promises that God has for you? Belief is like a structure. It's like scaffolding. And God is ready to build your house, but your foundation isn't strong enough to hold what He wants to do in your life. And that's not a bad thing. It just means I got to strengthen my belief. I talked about the man last week. He said, God, can you heal my daughter? And Jesus said, and the question is not can I, the question is can you believe? For all things are possible to him that believe. Then God turned around and said, Lord, I believe. I held my unbelief. I believe, but it's just not strong enough. I need you to help my belief. I want to believe you for more. Once you get to that place to believe Him for more, our name is never known. Do you know that the man born blind, they never said what his name was? Because when we truly want to testify of the goodness and the glory of God, our name doesn't matter. It's not about us. It's not about me. It's all about that song, This Is a Move, and I'm going to be singing it, and we're going to sing it every week, so if you're tired of it, just bear with us. Listen, I hear the Lord say, I'm ready to move on your life. I'm standing willing and ready and able. But the problem that is keeping from what you desire or what He promised in the manifestation is your belief. Do you believe? All things are possible to him that we assume just because we know when to lift our hands and just when we know to say amen and we know how to pray and we know all of these things that we believe, that is not the case. I need you to dig down deep today, and I need you to see where your belief is. If you're at that first point and you're at sign belief, God is doing something in your life to prove who He is, God bless you. Yes, that's a good place to start. And you're going to find He's greater than you ever imagined. But if you've been at sign belief for a minute, you got to believe Him for more. You have to trust Him. You got to move from sign faith to word faith. If He speaks it, He doesn't have to do anything. The fact that He says it is good as done in my book. And let me tell you how I act. I walk around like it's already done. And people ask me about a situation, and I talk like it's done. I'm like, oh, that happened. No, not yet, but it's on the way. Because we learned last week that He gave the word that the boy was healed, and he was healed at the same time He gave the word, but the father didn't find out until 24 hours later. Let me tell you, just because you haven't seen it yet didn't mean He didn't answer it when you first. That's the kind of belief that you have to have. I believe in miracles. I believe in signs and wonders. I believe He's going to do the miraculous. I believe every petition that we have before Him that lines up with His will is surely going to come to pass. You don't have to question me. I feel like we're in a day of social media questioning, that everybody's asking you, how do you know? Y'all don't get that? Well, how do you know this is real? Sometimes you may be questioning yourself. I've had times like, God, is this real? I'm like, am I really doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Are you really real? Like, is this really happening? But then I start to think back over my life, and there is no way anybody else orchestrated this. There's no way that the things that have happened unless there is a God. And I don't care if you don't think I'm theologically correct, or I don't Hebrew, Greek, and exegete like you think I should. All I know is I was blind. And now I see. You believe what you want to believe. I'm going to believe what I feel like Elijah. You call your God and let me call mine. And let's see. Don't let people question you out of your faith. It's not something that's easily explained. It's called the mysteries, and that's okay just to say, I know all I know. That was blind. But now I see. There's nothing you can tell that man. And I'm pretty sure they tried to convince him that Jesus was not real. He was not changing his mind. Because there's no scientific proof. There's no method. There is no explaining or reasoning how what has happened has happened. I choose to believe them. I'm done. But can I tell you, I want to spark some serious belief in your life today. See, he's the kind of God that says, try me. He's not even asking you to do it blindly. He says, put me to the test. Let me show you my heart. I dare you to believe me for more. And so I've been in this belief a long time, and I'm not asking you to be where I am in belief, because we're all on different levels of belief. But let me tell you, the fact that I'm standing here before you lets you know that I gotta have some serious belief. I'm telling you to believe in a God you can't see. I'm telling you to believe in his power that you haven't witnessed yet. But I'm telling you because I know. It's like when you tell somebody to go to a restaurant they ain't never been to. You convince them, and when you talk about it, you can smell the food. You remember. You remember what it tasted like, and you're so convincing that person goes to that restaurant. But when I begin to talk about the goodness of Jesus and all he has done for me, I start to smell the aroma of how good of a God he is. Makes you want to know. Do you believe? You may be sitting here and Pastor, I need to go to the next level of belief. Wherever that is, from what you said, I need to go to the next level of belief. What happened there? Can I give you a little testimony? I don't want to talk about stuff, but it's the best way that I can explain this. See, when I was in the apartment, I was believing a little. Okay, I was pastor though, but my belief was still little. And as my belief began to progress, my living situation began to progress. I went from the apartment to the two-family house. From the two-family house to the three-bedroom house. The three-bedroom. You get what I'm saying? See, belief is progressional like that. It's just an example. He's so much bigger than things. For the next season of your life, you have to believe. I'm believing we're going to pay this building off. I'm believing. Listen, and I'm not believing it so that I can benefit from it. That's what we have to understand. We need to benefit all of us, that we can benefit this community when we don't have that heavy debt that we carry. The Nordonia football team came yesterday and helped clean the church from top to bottom. Because we're becoming a part of their community. Can you imagine how farther we can go if we just didn't have that debt? That takes a lot of belief. But I hear the Lord say, if you believe, it's already done. But you gotta believe for more. What are you believing for? Maybe it's healing. Maybe it's love. Maybe it's your marriage. Maybe it's a job. Or maybe it's just you. Maybe it's just peace. Whatever it is, He said, I want you to increase. Just for a few seconds, just lift your hands where you are and just tell the Lord, I believe. I want you to start thinking back through your life of all the things He's already done. Has He ever failed you before? I don't care how bad it got. He's never failed me before. Somehow it all works out. It may not feel good while it's working. But I dare you just to lift your hands in your heart and say, God, I believe you. Help my unbelief in the midst of my belief. Now I want you to tell Him what you believe in. Lord God, we, your people, are standing in. We ask you to hear our humble. Forgive us for not believing as we should. But God, we're going to step out and we're just going to believe you for more. We're going to hear your voice. And once we hear your voice in this, we're going to begin to declare what you said. And we will continue to say it until we see it. That will strengthen our belief. Remind us to believe you, Lord. For your promises are yea. And we ask all these things in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Come on and give